Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Michigan Insider, Michigan.247sports.com. Alejandro Zuniga here with another press conference report. Spoke today to wide receiver Amorian Walker, running back Benjamin Hall, and transfer from Tennessee safety Wesley Walker. A lot of interesting things, a lot of interesting faces we haven't had a chance to talk to in press conference settings over the past couple of years. Wesley Walker, obviously, he was at Tennessee, but Amorian Walker was hurt most of last year, didn't play a whole lot, if at all, at defensive back, and Benjamin Hall was buried on a depth chart behind Donovan Edwards, Blake Corum, and the like last year. So interesting names to get to talk to. 3 people we expect to be contributing. We're going to start with Amorian Walker. Amorian Walker had probably the busiest offseason you could possibly ask for. He transferred, first he won a national championship at Michigan, then decided he was going to transfer to Ole Miss, did so, spent the spring semester there, and then decided, you know what, I think I'd rather be back at Michigan. So he is back with the Wolverines, not as a defensive back, but as a wide receiver, the position he was originally recruited at. He was part of that 3-man wideout recruiting class along with Darius Clemens, who's now at Oregon State, and Tyler Morris, who is expected to lead that room this year. He said that he does not regret his time at Ole Miss. In fact, he really liked the program, liked the people, but he felt like he was missing his brothers when he was out with that program, and that's what encouraged him to get back into the transfer portal, to look back at Michigan. And when he saw the depth chart at Michigan, that he'd have the opportunity to play at wide receiver and that he'd be back with his brothers, he chose to come back. Here's what he had to say about that.
What was your time at Ole Miss like?
It was good. I mean, I don't regret it. Those are good guys over there too.
After spring, Michigan had like a depth receiver room. Was that what was appealing to you to come back?
The depth of the receiver. Yeah. You can say that. I'll just say it was mostly my teammates for real.
Turning our attention now to the running back room. Plenty of big names in that running back room. Obviously, Blake Corum, who owns the record book in terms of Michigan running backs in so many categories. Total points scored, touchdowns. He was the focal point for a national championship winning Michigan football team. That puts him out on the Mount Rushmore any way you slice it. But this year, a lot of new faces. Obviously, we expect Donovan Edwards and Kalel Mullings to be that 1-2 punch. But Ben Hall is potentially going to be that number 3 back. He's a guy we've seen a little bit in games. He's really impressed in spring games, and he said that this year the game has really slowed down for him. He's a guy I'm personally going to be watching closely. Blake Corum says that he's the next man up. If Blake Corum says something, you listen. And when Blake Corum said that he thought that Ben Hall had all the makings of an excellent back, I took that to heart. Here's what Ben Hall had to say about how he models his game after Blake Corum.
I mean, since I've been here, all I've ever tried to do is kind of emulate things he did here, because obviously he's a Michigan legend. So and part of me wants to hope that he kind of saw a little bit of himself in me. So in terms of the work ethic and just kind of style of play. So yeah.
Now, of course, Ben Hall isn't the only running back competing for snaps this fall. Again, we expect Donovan Edwards, Kalel Mullings to have the majority of the carries. But you have guys like Jordan Marshall, Cole Cabana, Micah Kapana competing for snaps themselves. We don't know exactly how those snaps are going to be divvied up. And of course, Ben Hall and, a Cole Cabana are 2 different types of players. But you could tell when we asked Ben Hall about Jordan Marshall, his face lit up. He said, hey, this is a guy you're going to want to remember, if not for this year, for soon in the future. Here's what he said about the running back depth.
What has Jordan Marshall brought to this group, and do you see him getting on the field this season?
He's brought so much energy, so much juice. Just comes out there every day and gives his all. He runs so hard, and so I just love everything he's brought to this room. I think he's a great addition to this room, and if not this year, he's going to be named to remember at Michigan for sure. I mean, he'll go down those record books, I think.
No, I was going to ask about Jordan Marshall, but I guess what have you seen from Micah, and then also Cole Cabana? I feel like he doesn't get talked about as much. He was hurt a little bit, but your classmate.
Micah's came in and ran hard every day. He's not large in stature, his personality is huge, and he just kind of goes in there and does his thing every day. I mean, he's making runs to where I'm like, how could I ever do that? Like, he just goes in there and gives his all every play, and I think he's going to be great great Michigan tailback, as well as Cole. I mean, Cole's so, you can multitask him, do anything, put him in the slot, put him in the backfield. I mean, he's a great addition to this team, and the way he's attacking this camp, it's been really beautiful to watch. He's making plays in the backfield, making plays in the slot, flying down on kickoff, and he's doing everything. So anything you're asking him to do, he's doing it at a high level, and that's what you love to see. Because, like you said, he's my classmate. I mean, I want us all to succeed at the highest level.
And finally, turning our attention to the defensive side of the ball, had a good first conversation with Wesley Walker, who transferred to the Wolverines from Tennessee this offseason. He's a guy, he came straight up and admitted it. He's played a lot of college football. He is like a coach on the field, but he's joining a safety room that has a lot of experience. Makari Page started for a national championship winning football team last year. Quentin Johnson is a guy who's been around this program for forever, made key plays in the Rose Bowl en route to a national championship last year. Now, Wesley Walker acknowledged he wouldn't be here if it weren't for Rod Moore's injury, right? Because Rod Moore went down, Michigan needed bodies in that safety room. Wesley Walker came to Michigan, visited, and decided it was the place for him. Here's why.
I feel like Michigan just was, the spot for me. This is my last year, so, just trying to find a spot that'll allow the smoothest transition for me and what I want, for my career. When the opportunity came, I knew I had to, come see, how it was up here. When I got up here, it was a no-brainer. So.
And finally, we don't often get specifics from players about exactly what schemes are going to look like, what coverages are going to look like, that sort of thing. But Wesley Walker did kind of clue us in a little bit. He talked about how at Tennessee, at places in his past, he's used to playing quarters and just quarters. Said that, you learn something, you're good at it, you run that pretty much every play. That is not the case at Michigan. He said if you are playing in the secondary at Michigan, you are going to be running out a lot of different coverages, whether that's, cover 3, 1 high, 2 high, whatever that is. There's going to be a lot. They want to confuse the quarterback, but you've got to be smart, you've got to be experienced, you've got to study up on opponents to make sure you are confusing the quarterback and not busting and putting yourself in the best position to succeed. Here's what to expect from the Michigan defense, according to Wesley Walker.
Yeah, it's totally different. I'm used to playing like quarters, just play quarters and get after the quarterback that way. But we run a lot of different things and different ways to mess with the quarterback, show him different pitchers, and you gotta be smart to be able to do that. So I'm really excited to be in this defense and just showcase my ability and what I can do, and I got great players around me too, so that'll make it easier.
And that'll do it for today's press conference recap. Plenty of content over at the Michigan Insider YouTube page. Subscribe to that for exclusive interviews with guys like Alex Orji competing for that QB1 job. Exclusive interviews with Will Johnson, returning All-American, and of course, plenty of more content from press conferences. You can also subscribe over at themichiganinsider.com for in-depth practice reports, for insider intel, for recruiting, and a lot more as the Wolverines prepare to defend their national championship in 2024. For all of us over at the Michigan Insider 24/7 Sports, I'm Alejandro Zuniga. Talk to you next time.